thought your first colors were blue anyway, but what do I know?
We're just men.
We're just men.
All right. I'll go ahead and intro. I feel like I haven't introed in a while.
Yeah, you always make everybody else do it.
I prefer it that way. All right,
welcome back. No, you can do it.
All right, welcome back to episode 25 of the Extremely Low-Budget Podcast. We've got a full house here today. Alex, Derek, Dalton, and Kyle. And we are doing a review of Captain Marvel.
Now sing the Full House theme song because you said the name.
Everywhere you look.
I actually forgot what the theme song was. I could only think of the Friends one, which is why I didn't sing it when you said the words Full House. Because I was like, I don't remember what that theme song is. Today we're doing a review of Fuller House Episode 1.
The pilot.
We turned it on for Jackson the other night to torture him while he went to sleep, and I watched the first 5 minutes, and man, did I cringe hard.
Really?
That
I
show
had no
was
interest
really bad.
in it.
Yeah, when it came out, I watched it. I watched episode 1 back 4 years ago when it came out to see if it was any good, and it was horrible.
And it still is. So, I feel like we had an interesting experience last night sitting watching the trailers for the movie last night. And I want to address some of the things that
We
happened.
saw Captain Marvel 3 times. And 2 of them were the same Captain Marvel. The wrong Captain Marvel.
Did you know that Shazam used to be called Captain Marvel?
No.
That's what he's referring
All right,
to.
well,
They changed it
better
on
clarify
Justice
that.
In a good, vague way. Yeah, so first thing, we got hit with the Hobbs and Shaw trailer, which I just cannot stress enough how much I fucking hated that trailer. It seriously looks like the worst pile of dog shit I've ever seen. I would rather see A Dog's Way Home a few times. Maybe, I don't know, what's
probably a
another
much
one we
shorter
thought
movie
hated?
too.
Probably.
Dog's Way Home.
Probably got a more interesting plot.
Yeah, there's a wolf in one part or something.
It's a
Exactly,
mountain
see?
lion.
Yes.
Oh,
There's a mountain
damn.
lion, you're right.
The dog forms a bond with a mountain lion, and in Hobbs and Shaw, who fucking cares? It looks so bad, and the trailer was so poorly done, I literally just wanted to leave the theater after I saw it. But we didn't. We stuck around. And then we got hit with the Hellboy trailer.
Yeah.
Which I said it looks a lot better than I thought. There was a lot of really good CG and then a lot of really good makeup. So I was never really a big Hellboy guy. I haven't watched any of the Hellboys. I don't think
That'll change.
It's
But it
been
looks-
so long since I saw them.
It looks good. It really does.
Yeah, I
look
thought that movie looked like a lot of fun.
good. Yeah.
I'm very interested in seeing that one.
Yeah, me too.
I like the actor playing Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
David Harbour.
There you go. Yeah, I think that one looks fun.
Trailer, what? I don't know what trailer came after that. My mind goes to
Shazam?
Shazam Part 1. And then in between Shazam was Lion King and Dumbo. And then the trailer after that was another Shazam trailer, which I've never seen ever in the history of going to the movies. Them play an ad for one movie twice.
Mm-hmm.
So
they have
weird.
done that before, but it was the only one I can think of. It was he's bald. I think it's heckin'
The Rock?
no.
The other
he
guy that's not The
plays-
Rock in Hobbs and Shaw?
How can I not remember his name?
Vin Diesel.
No, he's David Dunn. How can I not remember his name?
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Of course.
It was that Bruce Willis movie where his family gets killed and then he's seeking revenge, and it came out recently.
It
was a recent
I can picture it. Yeah.
But anyways,
Glass. All right, let's move on.
one of the movies I just saw last year had the trailer play, and then the exact same trailer played right after it.
That seems like an error on the theater's part. I don't know how that all works. You might. Do you know how it works?
Yeah, you
Is
worked
it
at theater.
I honestly think they go upstairs into the camera room and they press a button and then just forget about it. So
Seems like the likely answer.
Yeah. Do you think that's is everyone gonna see the Shazam trailer twice?
I hope so. Usually you do get the trailers you see one time will be the ones you see the next time.
To me, I was like, is this like a fucking error on the theater's part or something? What is going on?
Like when
I was just DC like, hey, please fucking see our movie, please.
When I went and saw
we need this.
Incredibles 2, it was the first time I'd seen a kids movie in so long that the trailers were like off-putting, like all the little kid trailers. I was like, whoa, these movies exist, kids movies. And like they stood out to me as so bad that the second time I saw Incredibles 2, I was like, holy cow, it's the exact same trailer lineup. So yeah, I think they do just play the same trailers.
Weird.
So I hope everyone gets Shazammed twice.
Yeah.
Good old Billy Batson.
Billy Bats.
Also, Dark Phoenix looks horrible.
Oh, that's right. That one was in there.
Yeah.
I tried to forget about that because that movie just looks so bad.
The manager can't wait to see it.
Not Hobbs and Shaw bad, but pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, that movie did not look good.
What'd you two think of that trailer?
I think they're trying too hard. I think they should have stopped a while ago. But I think they should have stopped before Apocalypse. And they
wouldn't that have been nice?
But
yeah, Days of Future Past had a good ending.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Days of Future Past, and then you hit us with Logan, and you're like, oh, this is how the Prime timeline ends or whatever. And then it's like, damn. But they didn't.
I just love whoever was like sitting around and was like, what if we made X-Men 3 again? And someone else was like, let's
It's
do
the same
that.
guy. It is the same guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that didn't look good.
No. But we're here to talk about Captain Marvel, so let's get into it. How do we want to run this review? I think Derek's the review guy. You have a set formula that you do, so we're going to let you run this one.
Thanks.
You're welcome, bud.
Well, God.
Because, like, I would like to do a plot by plot, but it's just, do I remember the full plot? I don't think so. So,
Well, see, because here's the thing. For non-spoiler review, I will go character by character, and then I will end it with my 4-category thing. What the human story, action, special effects, and soundtrack, and then I'll end it.
Mm-hmm.
For spoiler reviews, I always do a plot by plot.
well, let's start out with doing a spoiler-free review. That way people can watch it up to a point, and then they can turn away if they don't want to see the rest.
I don't remember the... Okay, character review.
You can just pull it up on IMDb.
Yeah.
The characters,
Samuel Jackson.
So I was going to say... Well, we'll skip straight there. Yeah, Captain Marvel herself in the Captain Marvel movie, I found to be quite whiny and boring.
See, I had high hopes for her because I was just like, oh, this movie's like becoming like a huge thing.
Yeah, and they
But
told us
then
she's the
it's just-
strongest Avenger, so you get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like she didn't convey emotion in the best way.
Mm-mm.
Well, I thought the opposite. I thought she was a very good facial actor, but less so with her body.
Boom. That was every time I was like, if she was like silent for this whole movie, I think she would have been really good. But I thought that her vocal performance wasn't very good. She didn't. I don't know. She had a weird line delivery to me, like throughout the whole movie, where it didn't sound very natural.
There
like
was a
none of
couple
it.
lines that I mean, I don't remember the lines specifically, but I remember them feeling not natural.
Yeah.
But then I remember like there was a lot of close-up shots that I was like, she's like kind of a good actress. But then like
I think
she
she's a
does
good
that thing where
actress.
she stands up and her like arms are completely locked and everything. I'm like, that doesn't look good. I don't know if that was her choice.
She also
or, like,
runs weird, just saying.
She does run weird. I did
Yeah.
notice that too.
And I didn't
but-
notice it in Kong, but I noticed it here.
Yeah, it was.
I
don't know.
forgot she was in Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only other big thing she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
But
You don't remember her days as a pop icon in the early 2000s or maybe late 90s?
I very much remember. I do not... Well, it was the early... Are you talking about Scott Pilgrim?
No, Brie Larson herself was an actual
Oh.
like pop star. For
I
a
thought you were
while.
making a sick Scott Pilgrim reference. I was like, oh, that was early 2000s. Early to late 2000s. Yeah, she was in Scott Pilgrim, by the way.
okay,
Thank
all
you
right.
very much.
Yeah, I like none of the lines she gave. I was like, oh, this is what the MCU is going to be. Is this weird line delivery. I don't like it. I didn't think she had no emotion to me. I felt like she expressed emotion physically with her face, but not vocally with her voice at all. It was like... And I don't know what... Like, it could have been a decision because there was a running theme throughout the movie where Guy, the Kree guy, was like, you can't let your emotions get the better of you. And so I was like, is this like an intentional decision to make her emotionless? Because it's like, I'm controlling my emotions like a Vulcan, or was this just like her not giving a very good vocal performance? But
absolutely the latter.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say she was a bad actress, just not
a top tier level.
Not a top tier level. She can get there. She works hard, puts in a lot of work.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't label her a bad actress, but
No,
I did think that this
with you guys.
performance wasn't fantastic.
Maybe if we get a future... Are we going to get a future Captain Marvel?
Are you kidding? Of course.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she'll be in the next movie. She's in Avengers Endgame.
Is she really? I haven't really been keeping up.
They showed it in the movie. Spoiler
Oh,
warning, the post-credit scene for this
that's
movie
right. I
is
forgot
a
about
clip
that.
from Endgame.
You're right.
And she was, in fact, in it. And then immediately after, text popped up on screen and said, Captain Marvel will return in Endgame.
yeah. I was on my phone for that last part.
Yeah, I mean, and then as far as, like, the character's powers and stuff go, she, to me, kind of seemed like Scarlet Witch but could fly.
Scarlet Witch can fly.
Okay, she just kind of seemed like Scarlet Witch, I
Scarlet
suppose.
Witch can't fly far, but she can fly. Well, Scarlet Witch can, like, jump high.
I was like, in Infinity War, it's more like boosting herself.
But it's because she's getting there. She's
Right.
getting to that point.
It's more like the difference between them is, like, Captain Marvel uses blasts of, like, alien energy, and Scarlet Witch uses blasts of magical
Magic.
energy.
That is the difference.
So, to me, I wasn't like, wow, this is so cool. She's like a whole new character, but...
No, she doesn't have any powers that we haven't seen before.
Right.
So...
Is she the strongest Avenger? Did you guys finish watching that and go, man, she could just wipe all of the Avengers easy?
I get where they're coming from, because she's the only one that can fly, shoot lasers, and I guess breathe in space and do all this random stuff that she could do at the end of the film.
Except for Thor can also do all three of those things.
Thor
as I
can't
just
fly.
said.
And I don't think she can technically breathe in space without her...
But she didn't have her mask
Thor,
on in
like
that
how
last
Thor
shot.
can't fly.
I turned
Yeah.
to Dalton and said it. I was like, hey, wait a minute.
She
But
was
Thor can't
yeah.
fly, by
the
the way.
last scene she's in. She isn't wearing her headgear, and she's out in space flying.
Yeah,
around.
but they very much made a deal out of the fact that earlier in the film she needed her helmet to breathe in space. So I don't know what the heck the deal was. They wanted a nice hero shot at the end without her weird mohawk, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So here's the thing with Thor. It was always supposed to be like a perpetual energy thing. When he spins Mjolnir, and then when he lets it go, it drags him.
I am aware.
So how in Infinity War was he flying around destroying
Watch the way he
everything?
moves Stormbreaker. He will throw Stormbreaker and hold on to it. That's how he flies. Pay attention to it. Because
Don't look at me.
It's quite passive-aggressive.
well, I had
Well,
that
he can
same
still like
complaint.
float there. It's not like he's always in it. Like he doesn't whip it forward and then continuously move in that direction.
But he should.
But he doesn't. So should and
Well, I
does
know, but even if you
different,
watch
he
in
can fly.
Infinity War when he changes direction, with Mjolnir he used to just aim his arm and he'd go in that direction. But if you watch an Infinity War with Stormbreaker, he will throw Stormbreaker in that direction, which is why whenever he's flying it looks pretty awkward.
All right. Well, anyways, whether he can or cannot fly.
Thor is the strongest Avenger.
Thank you. Does the ability to fly really change it? All
Thor's
right.
the strongest Avenger.
Yes, but what I was saying is they're saying that she's the strongest Avenger, but
I
her
think it's
only
just the
advantage
Russo
over Thor
brothers
is
trying to
she
hype
can
her up.
fly.
I don't think she's. I think it's just the Russo brothers trying to hype her up. Also, the Russo brothers tend to exaggerate characters in their movies. So, like, Captain America became way stronger once the Russo brothers took him under their wing. I would assume that that's what's going to happen with Captain Marvel. She probably will be the strongest Avenger in Endgame, But outside of Endgame, she probably won't be.
Well, that will be disappointing.
Why?
Because... why? Is she supposed to be the one that kills Thanos? Everyone's saying she plays a major part in killing Thanos.
Well, no one would know that for sure.
Well, if she does, I'm going to be very pissed. Because she has no right to be the one to kill him.
Who has the right to kill him?
I would say Thor.
I'd say one of the big three.
I agree with
Any
that.
of the big three. If Cap were to do it in some way with the gauntlet as a way to reverse the snap, and that kills him in the process, I think Cap should get the kill.
Yes.
Yes.
And then with
I
Thor,
don't think... I
could see Thor as like, oh, it's a redemptive thing. But I don't think Thor...
No, it's not a redemptive thing. It's the fact that Thanos took the last anything that Thor had. In every movie, Thor loses something pretty big, his mom, his dad, and then in this one, Thanos kills his brother and half of his entire population of people. I would say that he's
Thanos
more
kills
deserving.
3/4 of the population of Asgard.
Oh, well, there you go. More than half. Thank you.
But it doesn't matter.
Sound
I
very
still think...
balanced to me.
No, it isn't.
Well, the way he did it is he, slaughters half of them at the beginning, and then when he snaps, another half dies, so...
Yep. Either way, I think Tony could get it too, and it would make so much sense for Tony to get, especially if that's what kills Tony.
The only way Tony, it would just have to be in the name of Peter. Otherwise, it's like, no, don't give it to Tony.
Well, you're just a Thor fanboy.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you can deny it, but you are, so...
Captain Marvel!
I don't think any of the other ones have as much.
I don't
as
think
Thor.
anybody has the right to kill Thanos. I think
I don't think
anybody can
Thanos is
kill
going to
him.
die in Endgame.
I'm saying for an audience perspective. Sure, in the movie, it's anyone
I'm
can
just
kill
saying,
him,
like,
but
I don't care who does it.
I don't
do.
think he's going to die. I think Thanos
Or
is
he
making
could
it
not
out
die.
of Endgame.
Or he
Yeah.
could kill himself. Who knows?
Or he could
did that in the
kill
comics.
himself.
He did. Drax also kills him in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, if Captain Marvel does it, I think that's the most undeserved of all of MCU.
Really?
Yeah, pretty
What
much.
if, like, Happy did it?
God bless. If Happy does it, that would... You know
If
how
he
freaking
managed
epic
to.
that would be?
Oh my
Are you
God.
kidding?
That would be great.
What if Ivan Drago from Iron Man 2 shows up with his whip and does it?
You lose.
Again.
You killed my bird. That might be amazing.
See? Well, that's Captain Marvel. She was okay. I thought she was alright.
Nick Fury was amazing. He's the best part of the movie.
Yes.
I agree.
I skipped Captain Marvel's sidekick, the dude, because I don't remember his name.
The
And
dude. Who?
What?
the dude who trains her.
Oh.
All three of us got on our phone. Might
It's
as well just
probably
pull
a
up.
good idea to just
Is that
have
Jan
it on
Rod?
for me.
Yanrog?
Probably. He looks like it.
Typed in Captain Marvel, and the first thing that came up was Christian Marvel. He's a producer of the
Yeah, Jan Rod.
Emblemer.
Jude Law.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just Captain Marvel cut for Christian audiences.
Yeah, Jude Law. I've already forgot his character's name, and you just... Yanrog, he's
Yanrog.
boring, and I didn't care for him at all.
I didn't like him ever. I thought even at the beginning I was like, this dude's a little off-putting.
Yeah, he was
Maybe that's the point, though.
pretty uninteresting.
The two
whole
saving
thing.
graces for this film are Nick Fury and Ben
Clark
Mendelsohn.
Clark Gable. Is that
Who?
his last name? Clark Gregg.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Agent
Clark
Coulson.
Oh, Agent Coulson has a cameo, so...
And it was amazing. It would have been so
He's
much
in it
better
for
if
like 5
he
minutes.
should have had frosted tips. That would have been hilarious. That was more 2000s, I suppose.
I'm so glad he didn't.
Agent Coulson was a little goober in this movie. And it was like it wasn't like a bad goober though. It was like a good goober.
He seemed pretty Coulson-y to me.
No, I thought he was kind of a goofball.
Really?
Well, only in his introduction, then he wasn't for the rest of it.
Right? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, I thought it was fun that he was back.
Yes, I did too.
But yeah, obviously Sam Jackson was like the best character.
Oh,
He was
yes.
awesome.
Which is surprising, because I was very worried about that. I was very worried about the way they were going to treat Nick Fury in this movie.
Yeah, you thought he was going to be the goofy sidekick.
He kind of was, though, but I thought they did it in a...
It's
I thought they both had
he's
their quirks.
ignorant because he doesn't know any of the stuff that's going on.
Well,
That's
I know that's why, but still, I'm like, Nick Fury is a badass, and like, this guy's kind of a goofball. Anyways, yeah, I thought he was great.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'd rather just talk about spoilers, honestly, because there's not a lot to say otherwise.
All right, well, quickly, let people know who don't want the movie spoiled, should they see it.
Yeah, you should see it because it's filled with 90s nostalgia that won't land. And then you'll be like, oh yeah. Remember when it was called Blockbuster Video and not just Blockbuster?
I didn't think that was a
Crazy.
joke that they were doing. Like, oh, look, it's funny because it's Blockbuster. I just thought it was part of the time, like, to set the time.
You'd think that, but then it was very... I think very much a joke.
Blockbuster wasn't a joke, but Radio Shack was.
The Radio Shack, that's fine. Because
Dude, I got so hyped when she was like, does anyone know where I can get communications parts? And I turned it all and I went, Radio Shack. And then it was Radio Shack.
And he hit me.
So that's a joke because of the way it's delivered. But
Right.
her crashing through the roof of a Blockbuster, that's not funny.
I know, but like...
And everybody laughed. I was like, where's the joke?
Oh, they didn't just
Walk
laugh.
past, but-
They applauded. Everything that happened in this movie, they applauded,
No, they
in
didn't.
fact.
Oh, see,
Captain Marvel
you know, just
just
that one guy up in the corner.
okay,
that
that's the
clapped
problem,
every
though.
single
There's
time.
one guy in the theater that claps for everything.
Yeah, and then 3 or 4 people clap too because they think they need to. and
Yeah, it
nobody
was
else in
like the
theater
two
claps.
girls to mine and Alex diagonal. Both of them were like so like everything. They had to clap for everything. Captain Marvel sneezes in a scene, and it's like.
But it wasn't like Infinity War where the entire audience was cheering. It was like 3 people throughout the entire IMAX theater who were like, yeah.
Which
no,
I
no.
argue is worse. Because
Oh, it's
way
a
more
lot
cringy.
worse.
So
because
much
it's,
more cringy,
It's
yeah.
it's awkward that way.
It wasn't like a super engaged audience. It was just like 3 or 4 people that were just hitting
Well,
the
and
little
this-
MacGuffin's bar too much.
In this Marvel movie, like, it wasn't very funny. And I think the reason I realized that is because our audience didn't laugh at anything. There were things in the movie that I was like, oh, that was supposed to be a joke, and literally no one laughed.
I didn't think anything was what are those cringy though.
No.
No, it
They
wasn't.
maybe just
I had
didn't
the
land,
opposite
but
problem where everybody was laughing at things that weren't that funny.
You had that. I didn't think that the jokes were funny, though. There was a few jokes that I thought were funny, but pretty much everything that
There
I
was,
laughed
like-
at was something that Sam Jackson was doing or saying.
There was like a couple, but there was so many things in the movie that the audience was laughing, and I was like, that's not funny. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, it's like maybe like a joke, but I don't even think they intended it to like have a laugh out loud factor. It's just kind of like a little. Well, I can't think of examples, but like, you know, I feel like everybody laughed at like everything, and it was.
yeah. Well,
I didn't find it.
I think a
funny.
couple people laughed at everything.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
feel
the-
like when we saw Infinity War, it was frustrating how much people were laughing because we literally couldn't hear the
It
dialogue.
was not frustrating. It made the movie so much better.
I was frustrated because it was like I literally could hear every other line. It was like
That is true.
Thor
but
wakes
what
up
an
and-
experience it was.
Thor wakes up and, you know, Star-Lord's like, oh, I'm just as big. And everyone's like, ha ha ha. And then Rocket mouths words and all I can hear is laughing. And then I hear the next line and I'm like, damn you people. But this one I could hear it just fine because the 4 people laughing did not impede on my ability to hear.
Well, okay, the lady next to me thought a lot of things were funny.
Really?
And she died when the cat like opened up its mouth and. She was dying. I was like, I get it. It's kind of funny because they're like, oh, this cat's a high threat level, whatever, and then But I was like, it's not that funny.
Yeah, I actually take back what I said just a second ago. I said there's nothing as what are those cringy in this movie. The cat was that for me in this one.
It was
just predictable.
When I
Fucking
saw
I hated
it, when it came
You're totally
back,
gonna, by the way, hold on really fast. You're totally gonna have to bleep what Alex said because we're still in the spoiler-free section.
Yeah.
But,
Wait, are we?
yeah.
Mhm.
I thought you asked him if you would suggest seeing it.
And then we're not done talking about the spoiler-free stuff, but that's all right.
Okay.
That's not even the biggest spoiler. I'll
There
What,
were-
that the cat...
Yeah.
I'll bleep that too.
Yeah, you got to, trust me. Alex has been bleeped in 2 episodes in a row. This time it wasn't racist, though.
Did you actually bleep it?
I did, yeah.
I didn't. Is it like a big long, like...
It's not super long.
Okay.
It's basically just you're like, it's only bad when the Nazis, and then we all just start laughing.
Okay, good. Anyway.
All right.
Okay.
And let's end the spoiler-free stuff. Should people see this movie?
I would say, as a spoiler-free representation of this movie, the when we were just talking about the jokes not really landing and like 4 people laughing and it was kind of awkward, that's kind of how I describe this whole movie. Is I don't think any of it. I don't think the vast majority of it lands, and I find the movie to just be kind of clunky and awkward. I would recommend it, but go into it knowing that it's not one of the better MCU films.
I think the redeeming factor of it is they didn't try too hard with any of it, though. Like, when we're talking about, like, what you said, like, the what are those joke, like, that's trying too hard. I didn't feel like any jokes were, like, maybe the like, whole cat thing, you could argue, but there was nothing that I felt was, like, just out of touch. Like, so out of touch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I would say see it once. It's a Marvel movie. You should probably just watch each of them. Should keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, definitely not one of my favorites.
Well, I think if you saw the trailers and everything and you weren't very interested in it, you should go see it because you'll probably come out of it thinking it's better than you thought based on the trailers. Because I wasn't looking forward to it at all. I was like, stupid dumbass mohawk helmet, and it just looks boring. And then I watched it and I was like, it was a lot better than I thought when I saw the trailers. So,
well, all right, let's skedaddle our way
that,
into
Dalton.
the spoilers. Oh, he agreed with Alex. He said Alex said his thing, and Dalton said yes. I agree with that.
Oh.
So eat it, bitch.
Because Dalton says the 3-word.
Go ahead, Dalton. You now have a 45-second solo spot.
Yes.
Speak.
45 seconds? Jesus.
wait, hold on,
now
time
it's like-
starts
All right, wait.
now.
All right, well, see, whenever
Restart
I come
the clock. He didn't say how do you do to intro it.
Restart now.
Howdy friggin' doody. So, usually when I come out of a Marvel movie, I'm, like, freaking out because I'm, like, super excited. Like, I did it with Infinity War, I did it with Ragnarok, and I did it for most of them because I'm just a huge Marvel fanboy like that. This movie I didn't do that with, and I was, after we got in the car last night after the movie, I was just like, why? Like, I was trying to figure it out, and so, yeah. See it, but don't expect it to be your favorite MCU movie.
How long was that?
45 seconds.
Ooh! So good!
It's a good thing you made you add the howdy doody, otherwise you would have been about a second or two behind. So.
Right.
Yeah, that it lasted like 4 seconds. Then.
Okay, now we can move into spoiler territory.
Yes.
So the cat swallows the Tesseract.
We're just jumping straight
That's
in.
going to be so satisfying to the people that listen to that bleeped twice.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll try and give a little plot by plot here. Movie starts out with a flashback, and we flash back to this scene about 17 times throughout the film.
True MCU origin style, there's always got to be some kind of flashback or flash forward or whatever they're doing.
Yep. So we start with the flashback of like, oh man, there's this crazy thing going on and this woman dies and Brie Larson's got blue blood. And there's maybe a Kree alien there, or a Skrull alien there. And then she wakes up, she like goes and is like, hey, what was his name? Hey, guy.
I'm gonna have to. Jan Rog.
Yeah, they're stupid alien names. I fucking hate them.
Give me his
They're
actor
so
name.
hard
Just
to
tell me his actor name.
Jude Law.
Jude
Yeah,
Law.
Jude Law.
She's like, hey, Jude Law, do you want to train? And he's like, yeah. And then they beat up a little bit, and he's like, kicks her butt, and he's like, you gotta control it yourself, girl. And she just fires a energy beam and knocks him out. And she's like, I win.
There's your first big, like, reoccurring motif.
Is that she's a cheater. She's a dirty, filthy cheater.
That was the first thing I said to Derek. I was like, she wouldn't have won if she didn't cheat.
And it's funny because throughout the whole film, that's literally the only way she wins. And we even find out when she meets her friend from the Air Force or whatever, her friend's like, yeah, you used to race me, but you'd only win if you cheated. I was like, of course you would.
I didn't pick up on that. I just picked up on the fact that every single time...
I don't think it was intentional that she was supposed to be cheated at everything.
No, I don't think it was either.
Every time Jude Law and her would be in a scene, he'd always say something about her emotions, and I found it to be annoying. I thought they were forcing that aspect a little too much.
I didn't notice it too much. I figured... Well, here's the problem. This film is the most predictable Marvel movie I've ever seen. And so, like, from the start, I went, okay, Jude Law's the bad guy. He's the guy who got her here, and so he's going to try and cover it up the whole time. Yep. And guess what? Jude Law's the bad guy. He's the guy that got her there, and he tries to cover it up the whole time.
I mean, was it really that, like, hidden? Because they had the guy... Right. They had... What's his name? Ronan. They had Ronan's little butt buddy there
and Ronan
on
himself.
Part of the team. Well, not until later.
He's saying that he had...
yeah, I know that. The guy that's like a cyborg or whatever.
Yeah. He was on the team, so you had to go, oh, well, I know he's a bad guy because I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so... Guardians of the Galaxy. So... Yeah, it definitely wasn't surprising that they were the bad guys.
But, like, I'm just... Every aspect of this movie. The cat, I was like, oh, that's an alien cat.
Yeah, see, when I saw it come back, like, because it was in one of her flashbacks, then it came back when they were in the
hangar or whatever.
The storage room thing. Yeah, it came back when... And I was like, okay, well, why would they bring the cat back? That seems... If you did it, like, once for, like, a little cameo thing, like, look, the cat's still there.
So it was an alien cat. It wasn't just a cat, because I thought they were implying that all cats were secretly alien monsters.
No, it was just
Goose.
And where the fuck did it come from?
We don't know.
It was Marvel's, like...
Well, yeah, it was Marvel's.
She just brought... So that's like a regular Kree pet?
Or maybe it's just Marvel.
No, it clearly isn't a regular Kree pet. It's clearly not a regular Kree pet because otherwise the Captain Marvel would know about it. Otherwise,
that's what I figured.
Larson would know about it.
The cat was so dumb, so endlessly stupid.
No, I knew what it was the second it showed up. I went, "Oh, that's the alien cat."
Well, I don't know what the alien cat is. I had no reason to think it was an alien, and then I was worried that it would be an alien.
I just knew it was there for a reason.
I actually thought it was a scroll through most of it. I was like, that cat's like I following them around for a weird like that cat knows something, so I thought it was a scroll.
I thought that for a second, but
I didn't think it would be a little hentai monster that shoots tentacles out of its mouth and eats people and tesseracts and fucking cat.
You couldn't predict like that, but I knew that the cat was there for a reason.
There is literally one aspect of this film that I didn't predict, and it was I didn't think that the Tesseract would make a cameo.
I did not think that the Skrulls would be good guys.
I knew that Ben Mendelsohn's Skrull would be a good guy. I guess I didn't know what his motives would be, but I figured he wasn't going to be a bad guy.
I was kind of thought both sides were going to be bad, and Captain Marvel was going to have to like fight them both, but
I kind of think, well, I don't know, I was like, well, the Skrulls are like not good guys in the start of the film, you know, you got like a car chase with Sam Jackson or whatever, but I think Ben Mendelsohn he sums it up at the end. He's like, yeah, this is war, we all have blood on our hands, we've all done bad things, I'm not saying I haven't. So I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of exactly what I pictured, was that he wouldn't be a great guy, but he's not a bad guy, and he wasn't.
We also didn't say in the spoiler-free part how good Ben Mendelsohn was, but man, his character was like my second favorite.
Yeah.
He and Sam Jackson were on pretty equal levels. I actually thought that he was the most humorous character in the whole movie.
He is funny.
He has some fantastic
I think I would agree. Mm.
I really like him.
Yeah.
I thought he was great in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all right, back to the plot, I guess. She's like, shoots Jude Law and is like, hey, when something about like, oh, I put this inhibitor chip in your neck and that limits your powers, and then that'll be important never. Some things happen. They wind up going on a Rogue One Star Wars style mission. Like, it was so Rogue One. It's legitimately that scene where they're like, you remember in Rogue One when they all go storm that base at night, and it's when
the sniper's in the background that has the thermal scope,
exactly.
You can see everyone, and
it's straight up that exact scene, except it's in Captain Marvel, and this time Brie Larson goes into a cave to meet their extract guy, and it turns out that he's a Skrull who tries to kill him, and then she gets kidnapped. Jude Law and everyone has to kill all these Skrulls. It's whatever. I didn't really care about that. I was really waiting for them to get to Earth in this movie.
Yeah, big time.
And Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, wakes up upside down, and she's like getting this thing going into her head, and it's like messing with her memories, like this big purple laser going into her head, and it's messing with her memories, and they're like rewinding like back and forth trying to pinpoint certain moments. I thought that was kind of fun. But she wakes up and she like notices, here Dalton, I'll do it. She notices that she's inside the containment facility that Vilgax puts Ben in episode, heck, in the season finale of season 1.
He told me this in the middle of the movie. It's like, oh, dude, this is like that Ben 10 episode.
Yeah, I had to say it because Dalton turned to me and he goes, "Are you going to say that tomorrow during the podcast? Because you have to."
I did say that.
It reminded me of the one in Incredibles that they have Mr. Incredible strung up on.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
See, I can make references too, bitch.
Yeah, but this one, Ben 10 is better. So. Anyways, yeah, she wakes up, she busts out of it. There's a little scuffle on the Skrull ship where she's got like her hands inside these tubes. She's like beating them up. And it's like, oh, look how funny she is. She roars at the Skrulls.
I want to say that I was very excited during this scene because there was some good hand-to-hand combat, but then it was ruined by the fact that the cinematography is horse shit.
I noticed that throughout this whole movie. I was like, wow, these action scenes might be cool. I can't tell, though, because I don't know what I'm really looking at.
Yep. I felt like they were all ruined. And there was some there's other parts in this movie that the cinematography was like, I would never know this is a Marvel movie if I wasn't sitting here knowing what movie I'm watching. It's specifically the scene where she's hugging her old friend at the, like, Louisiana swamp area, and the camera was just like, I was, like, watching a weird bit on a Hallmark movie where two people are reunited. It was weird.
I didn't notice that.
I just wanted to say that I felt like the cinematography on this movie did not match the rest of the MCU very much.
It wasn't very good.
No.
So she winds up getting out of this ship, just like the ending of Spaceballs. That's what it reminded me of. They're all evacuating, and she like kicks off one of the Skrulls and then gets in his pod and then flies away. It's pretty dope. But anyway, she like crashes into Earth, and then she wakes up and she's in Blockbuster, and she goes to Radio Shack, gets some parts, calls up her guy, and is like, "Hey, Jude Law, come to Earth, I'm here." And he's like, "Oh, don't go anywhere and don't investigate Earth because you're going to find out that I am the reason that you're you, and you're going to find out that I've wiped your memory and all this bad stuff that I've done to you." And she's like, "Okay, I won't find that out." And then she hangs up and she's like, just kidding, I'm going to. Nick Fury strolls up with Coulson and they're like, "Hey, we're the new guys. You can't be here." And she's like, "I'm an alien." And then there's a big Skrull chase where she gets shot at by a Skrull.
It's the grandmother scene. She punches the grandma on the train.
Punches the granny on the train. Nick Fury's This was actually pretty cool. Nick Fury's chasing him in the car, trying to keep up. And then, what did Coulson does something or another.
He calls.
Coulson calls Nick Fury from Blockbuster and says,
that's right.
He's like, "Hey, I'm still at Blockbuster. I just finished up my investigation, and you're not here."
That was the dopey Coulson scene. When I was this is Coulson?
That's what I was just like, he's a goober, and I love it.
How is that dopey? All he did was call him and go, "Hey, you're not here."
It's the way he said it.
I feel like it. I didn't feel. It's not like bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I noticed it too. I was just like, oh. Coulson's still a new agent. You can totally tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then Nick Fury's like, it's a Skrull in the car with me, and he gets into this car crash and bangs up his eye real bad because this whole movie teases you with the whole, that the last time he trusted someone, he lost an eye, and he probably trusted Coulson, and they get into a car crash and his eye is all messed up. That's not how he loses his eye.
Wouldn't that have been satisfying?
They really do tease you, like, this entire film of how he's going to lose his eye. You even get after this, I forget what happens with Captain Marvel. She does something.
She goes to the bar.
That's right.
Steals the motorcycle.
She's on her own side mission here. Meanwhile, Nick Fury takes the Skrull body. He heads back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're doing an autopsy, and then Ben Mendelsohn walks in, and you go, "Oh, he's the bad guy because that's Ben Mendelsohn." You're like, I know. You're like, I know him. He's the Skrull. I watched Ready Player One, and then, so like they're doing the autopsy, and Nick Fury's eye is all messed up, and then again you're like, oh no, his eye, they said it's gonna heal, but you got Ben Mendelsohn here, who's someone he kind of trusts, and because that's his boss. Ben Mendelsohn took the form of his boss, the Skrull, and so you're like, oh, he's gonna be the one that cuts his eye out. Some other stuff happens. Nick Fury meets up with Carol Danvers in the bar. What do they do next?
Well, you haven't really explained that the whole time she's trying to find the mystery of who she really is, because she has these nightmares about a time where she was on Earth, and there's a character in her dreams that she doesn't recognize, but she does recognize, and so she's trying to figure out who she is, and she only has the smallest little clues to go off of, and so that's really her story for almost the whole movie.
Yeah. And they wind up inside of like this Pegasus facility or whatever it's called, which is like a big Air Force base where they're developing the Quinjet and some other stuff, which is cool. That's also where they meet Space Cat, Goose. And that's probably the coolest scene of the movie, in my opinion, is that whole scene where they're like going through the records, and then the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys show up, but it's like Skrulls, and they're like trying to catch and kill Captain Marvel. Well, Ben Mendelsohn was.
Yeah, only he was.
Well, I know. But anyways, S.H.I.E.L.D's there, and they're like, oh, catch and kill Nick Fury or whatever, and then catch and kill this new girl, Carol Danvers or whatever. And
well, they don't know her name yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I don't know what else to refer to her as because I forget her space name.
Vers.
Oh, yeah.
Veers. Yeah, Alex is right. It was Veers.
Oh, you're right.
Anyways, they're like, catch and kill Veers. Okay.
Thank you.
And then I thought that scene was cool, where like Nick Fury was inside that like storage facility, and all the lights would come on when you walk down the hall, and he has to evade them. And then he gets caught by Ben Mendelsohn. They have a little tussle, and you think his eye's gonna get poked out the whole time.
Walks into a rusty nail the wrong way.
They get away. Coulson lets him free, and then Nick Fury's like, that Coulson, he's a good guy. Remember him for Iron Man 1. Hey, Kyle, remember him from Iron Man 1?
He wasn't in Iron Man 1. Oh, yeah, he was.
You're stupid.
I was like, no, I know he shows up in Iron Man 2. Nope, he's definitely in the first one.
Mm-hmm. Other stuff happens. They wind up at Carol Danvers' friend's house, and they're like, hey, long time no see. I don't have memory of you. And then Carol Danvers' friend is like, hey, we were friends, and a lot of stuff happens here. Ben Mendelsohn and the Skrulls show up. Well, Ben Mendelsohn and the Science Skrull show up.
Best scene of the movie. This is the banter right here.
It was pretty funny.
It was really funny.
Because again, Ben Mendelsohn is funny in this, and same with Sam Jackson is like pretty funny throughout the whole film too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have some good bits here where it turns out that the Skrulls are actually the good guys and that the Kree are the bad guys. Really, they spend a lot of time here.
Yeah.
So I'll just jump to it, where Carol Danvers remembers her past. They listen to an audio recording. She remembers what happened. Turns out that she was hanging out with this chick called Marvel, who was building this world engine. It was like a light-speed travel engine or whatever the hell it was, that was going to somehow, some way end the Kree-Skrull war. I'm not sure how that makes any sense, but it was supposed to.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me because the Kree just kind of like rip a hole in space-time and go through it.
Yeah, well,
Isn't that a lot faster than light speed?
Yeah, and we see them use that trick in Guardians too, also, where they're like,
it's jump points.
But they make a deal out of it in this movie where they're like, we don't have the jump point set up here, so you're gonna have to fly the 21 hours it takes to get there.
Except they do, because then they jump to Earth at the end of the movie.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Because all the Ronin's people jump to it.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that. What the heck?
But also, what I'm saying is they want to get light speed so they can get away from.
Right, find refuge on a planet far away.
Yeah. But they can just warp through space.
Right.
So.
I really don't know the logistics of it.
Are you trying to tell me there's plot holes in this movie?
No.
Yeah, you better not.
We're not sexist here, Kyle. Okay.
I wasn't the one
It's
accusing this
National
movie
Women's
of
Day.
anything.
Can you just
It's
shut
yeah,
up?
it is.
Happy National Women's Day, everybody. This isn't coming out on Women's Day.
But that's when it was recorded.
But with the Extremely Low Budget Podcast, every day is Women's Day. That's why we have none of them on the podcast.
Right, yeah. Because women hate us.
If you want to guess our view demographic, it's 0% women.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll skip to the end because nothing happened. There was a lot of nothing.
No, there is one thing. When Captain Marvel's trying to change the color of her suit, apparently the little girl immediately knows how to use space tech and is like, here, let me design the colors for you, and just like rubs her
Well,
fingers
that was the
around.
part that I was just about to skip to.
Oh.
Was the changing of the suit was because I was
That's
gonna
not
say-
skipping anywhere. That's the same scene.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It was way later.
It's the night. It's that night when they're like, "Oh, you guys are the good guys. I'll help you find the jump point," and then it turns to night, and that's the next thing that happens.
Okay, whatever. I don't remember. This movie felt impossibly long, in my opinion. This was the first Marvel movie that I think ever that I've checked my watch, and I checked my watch like 7 times this movie. I could not wait to get out of that theater.
I did
Which
not
sounded
hate it
a lot
that
worse
much.
than it was.
Yeah, I thought
I
it was.
agree.
Well, I'm not saying that it was like a bad movie, but it felt way longer than it should have been.
I didn't feel like it was that long. I felt fairly engaged.
Well, I think the
most of
problem
it.
was
I felt like Black Panther was a much longer movie than this was.
the first hour of this movie went by, and that was when I checked my watch and I went, "Whoa, that was an hour? I thought we were like 20 minutes in." And then it like grinds to a halt for that second hour, I thought. Maybe it's just because I don't care about space battles at all, and the second half of this movie is kind of one big space battle, and so I really wasn't invested in any of it. That could be why. But the first half of this movie I really enjoyed.
I was kind of the opposite. I preferred the second half of this movie.
Yeah, it's I don't remember a big long space battle. I remember them going up onto the spaceship and
Well, it's like,
duking it out.
you know, they're fighting up on that spaceship, and I'm like, there's no real stakes here. And then they come down to Earth, and she has to go fight some big spaceships, and I'm like, again, I don't really care about any of this. But I liked the stuff before that. I don't know. And I didn't hate the ending. I just found it to be longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, it is. Really not much happens in the second bit of this movie.
Yeah, but
They go
it's
up to the
an
space
hour
station.
and a half of not too much actually happening.
I don't think the whole ending. I think the ending was actually probably like 45 minutes, where they go up to the space station. They reunite.
No, I'm
Skrulls,
saying from when they
Skrulls.
get to Girl's house, and they're like, "Hey, I'm Carol Danvers." What's her name?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
When they
Her
get
best friend's house.
Yeah,
There we
Is
go.
that Maria? Is that her name?
sounds right.
I have no clue.
When they get to Girl's house, from that point to the ending, I was like, "Oh man, that's an hour and a half." And I was like, "Something needs to happen." I actually did kind of enjoy that fight on the spaceship, but once they get off the spaceship, and like all the Ronin's guys show up and Captain Marvel's up there fighting them, I'm like, "Oh, this is dumb." I did not like it. But yeah, they changed the colors on the suit. They actually find a really cool neon suit that I'm kind of sad they didn't pick.
Yeah, what the heck? She gets to that one and then she's like, no.
They play it up as a joke, like, "Look at this silly neon suit," and I'm like, that'd be a genuinely interesting superhero costume to look at.
Yeah.
But they picked the like red, white, and blue colors because America.
Red, yellow, and blue.
Air Force colors.
Absolutely
Oh.
gold. Doesn't look white at all.
Well, I knew it. Well, I knew her suit wasn't white, but I thought she picked it for America.
Technically,
Yeah.
because of the Air Force.
Right.
That's a good point. I was right.
I thought Air Force colors were blue anyway, but what do I know?
We're just men.
We're just men.
No, so she picks her red, yellow, and blue suit, right? And then there's like this dumb fake out that's kind of obvious when Jude Law comes down and he's like, "Hey, did you find out that I'm the guy that messed up your mind?" And then she's wearing her Kree colors again, so it's obviously not her. And he's like, "Haha," and just shoots her. And then it turns out to be a Skrull.
the science scroll, the last scroll.
The poor
aside
science
from
scroll. He was hilarious.
Yeah. He wasn't hilarious. It was just fun to laugh at him. He himself was not very funny.
That is true. They get up on a the Quinjet. They get up on the Quinjet and they fly up to
Marvel's laboratory.
Yeah, Marvel's laboratory that's in orbit, and they get there and they're like, what is this power source that we've heard so much about that kind of gave Captain Marvel her powers in a way? It was the power source powered the device that gave her powers, and then you're like, oh wow, that's the Space Stone, because it's the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what are we going to do? Captain Marvel picks up the Tesseract, important to note, because that means a character can hold it. She's powerful enough to hold an Infinity Stone, so there's a little bit of
No,
a
the
base.
Tesseract, anyone can hold the Tesseract.
No.
Red Skull held it and sent him to...
Yeah. Humans can't hold the Tesseract.
Yeah, and Captain America.
Yep.
First Avenger.
Humans can't hold the Tesseract.
That's why Sam Jackson didn't hold it in that scene.
Yep.
He's just like, I'm not grabbing it, and the cat did instead.
The only people we have seen hold the Tesseract are that cat, Captain Marvel, Loki, and Thor, and then Thanos crushes it in his hand.
Oh, well, I guess, all of those people holding it, I just assumed that you could hold it. I figured that the cube that it was in was more of a protective device.
I think it is. I don't think Loki could have held the Space Stone on its own. I think probably what would have happened to him is what happened to Quill, but...
Right.
Even still, the Tesseract... the reason Red Skull gets sent to space is because he is not strong enough to hold the Tesseract.
Okay.
Well, I mean, but also the Tesseract technically gave her powers, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Technically she gets her powers from the Space Stone in a weird roundabout way.
I thought that was a separate point, but yeah, that's...
Yeah. Which I guess she's like, the third character in the MCU to get their powers? No, fourth character to get their powers from an Infinity Stone.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, no, he doesn't get his powers from the Infinity Stone. I was going to say her, there's...
he kind of utilizes it as part of his powers. So.
There's her, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. Those two, both, their powers were born from the...
Mm-hmm.
What is that? The Mind Stone? And then Vision, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, they're like, what are we going to do with this Tesseract? And the cat eats it, and then...
Because the cat's so funny. It's
hilarious.
Such a silly cat.
Oh my god.
What a little goofy, silly
that girl
cat.
next to me was so annoying. For that reason. Like,
she really loved the cat.
That funny? And then, the cat eats all the guards, and she, cracks up again. I'm like, no, it's not that funny.
It reminded me...
Was there any joke that made you laugh out loud in this movie? It was the Skrull. He was the only one that made me laugh out loud.
That was it.
There were humorous things with, Nick Fury.
I was laughing at the fact that in every scene that Nick Fury is at Girl's house, he's always holding a cup of tea, and I thought that was funny.
He pointed that out to me during the movie, too. He's like, he's been drinking that tea this whole time!
For an hour of the movie, he is holding this cup of tea. For, straight up an hour. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, none of the 90s shit made me laugh, though.
Nope.
That loading screen on the computer that everyone was just like, oh my god, I remember
So relatable.
I've seen loading screens, too. I was like, this isn't even fucking, just the 90s. I see this shit every time I try and render a video or load something. Why? Why are you applauding this?
That's the problem with 90s nostalgia is the 90s and the 2000s were not that different.
Right.
But people will pretend people will pretend like they were vastly different. And I'm like, I was born in the 2000s and I know all of this stuff. This is all
yeah. I hate to break it to you, but
remember, no, they won't.
Radio Shack and Blockbuster died 2 years ago. That's not huge. That wasn't
still Blockbusters around.
There's one singular one left. But yeah,
is there at this point?
Yeah, it's in Oregon or something. It's the very last one.
Was few, but more than
no. Recently,
there's still video rental stores.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but seriously,
yeah,
she crashes into Blockbuster, the theater cheers, and then they look at Radio Shack and the theater cheers, and I was like, these are still fairly relevant places. This is not something that went away in the 30s.
That's why I had a huge problem with when she just all she does is crash through the ceiling of a Blockbuster. It's not funny.
And
they didn't make a joke about Blockbuster.
Right.
It was just. I just thought it was setting the time period.
Mm-hmm,
Also with the Radio Shack.
But it was in the trailer, which is where I was like, Why are we laughing at something we all have seen? Don't pretend like every person in this
I
theater has
did not
seen
get
this.
it, and that I don't know. It just bothered me. The audience reaction to it bothered me, not the actual.
Oh, hold on. That just blew my mind.
What?
I totally forgot to mention that weird change up during the trailers we watched, where he says "sup buttwad" instead of dickhead in the Spider-Man trailer.
There's like 3 different censored versions of that. There was like a trailer that they released for like Europe or whatever, and they censored it differently. And then this is a different censored version than the original. So I don't know why there's so many different versions of it.
It's going to be because they want you to keep guessing so that when it's in the movie and he says Penis Parker, you're going to go, oh, what?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that legitimately tripped me up when that happened. What were we talking about? 90s nostalgia?
No, we're at the end of the movie.
Hold on, there was a lot
derail.
but there was like so much in this movie that they were just hammering you over the head with that no one was like...
It didn't feel obnoxious until that very end scene when they're on the ship and it's like, look, there's a centipede arcade machine in the background and also a pinball machine, and look, they've got like little troll dolls and they've got a Happy Days lunchbox.
Yeah.
At that point I was like, chill. My God.
That's what I was going to say.
Do we have to cram all of this right here?
Is... Like, throughout the film, we see arcade games and, like, all this other stuff. And it's, like, clearly supposed to be, oh, remember the 90s?
The music was more that to me. It was like,
I was
clearly they were playing up the music for the 90s nostalgia. I didn't think that, like, the use of, like, a 9 Inch Nails shirt was, like, bashing me on the head up until that end scene when they had all that crap crammed onto a space station. I was like, fuck off.
Nirvana's playing inexplicably during her memory with the... I like the song, don't get me wrong, I really like the song.
It fit for the thing. It was because the song is Come As You Are, and it's the vision that she sees as the person that she wants to see. It made sense to me. I was like, fair use of the song, didn't really need it.
Sure, it makes sense, but from a story perspective, why is that song playing? It isn't.
I don't know.
There should not be a reason for that song to be playing. Anyways, and like they even make a point that it's not a song playing on the soundtrack. It is playing in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. That's a big difference between a lot of songs where when it's playing in the movie versus playing over the movie. I forget what the difference is now. I remember learning about it. But
yeah.
But I liked that No Doubt song they played during the fight.
I did too. I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good,
hardly
fun
understand
action
the lyrics
scene.
to whatever that song was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was like, is this like a girl power song? I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be or not.
I don't think it's a girl power song. It's just...
I think it is, no doubt. I think...
Well, I think it was more of just like a...
I felt like for the scene, it was absolutely intended to be a girl power thing, because the song... I think the song is a backhanded song where it's like, I'm just a girl, and, you know... you don't have to think much of me because I'm just a girl, but in reality,
but
she's
then you
like,
have that
she's
scene
kind
of
of like,
her
fuck
just
you
beating
guys.
everybody up.
Right, and so I thought that's the way they were
I don't want to be confused with thinking that it was like, I guess kind of overdone or like over the top.
I'm not saying it was.
I don't want to.
I was legitimately questioning it because I couldn't
because...
understand the lyrics is what it was. Yeah. Is that I felt like the song, there was too much happening. And so I was like, I don't know what's happening.
And I don't know, I think maybe that's why it was a good choice for the song, because it wasn't overbearing.
Okay, so there's a big fight on the spaceship. She's beating up some guys. It's kind of fun. She takes off her inhibitor chip, and then she's like, wow, my hands can shoot lasers. Like, she couldn't do that before. Now she's shooting everybody with lasers or whatever, and then blowing up the spaceship. They get in the Quinjet and fly down to Earth. Ben Mendelsohn takes a shot in the process, and you think he's going to die, which is sad. He doesn't, luckily. They are flying down to Earth, and I think this is the scene where it happens, when Carol Danvers, is still on the ship beating everybody up. Jude Law crashes into Earth. Ronan's guys all show up. And I think there's like a little moment of rest where they're like, oh, we're doing a good job or whatever. No, it's right after this. Okay, so here's what happens. Captain Marvel, she goes and blows up all Ronan's spaceships. It was so boring. I didn't care about any of that.
It didn't last long.
No, luckily, thank God. Well, and it was like nothing even cool. She didn't do anything cool. She pushed one spaceship into the other, and then they all blow up.
Yeah, but here's kind of the problem: is that this was like the big showcase of her powers.
Yeah,
it wasn't interesting.
When she like caught the spaceship, I was like, every superhero does this. They need this in every movie, don't they?
Yeah.
They catch something that's going at an extremely high velocity and is super massive, and they throw it out into space. Like we've seen this in almost every movie, superhero movie.
Yeah, she pushes a spaceship, and it's supposed to be this, like, whoa, look how strong she was, and it had like no impact on me.
Because it just gets overdone.
You have Peter Parker pinned by a air conditioner and some rubble, and that hits home. You have Captain Marvel pick up a little spaceship and push it into some other spaceships, and then they like domino effect. I did not care.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, if you're comparing it to the Spider-Man, because there's actually like
he's vulnerable, and that's what makes it impactful. And she's not. That's the problem with her. Is that Captain Marvel? She doesn't have a weakness. That's
She
why
bulletproof?
I think probably.
Probably.
I really don't. I'm really not invested in characters that are like invincible. Superman. Don't care about Superman.
Calm down there.
Right as he said the invulnerable thing, I was just like, who else is like that? Oh, Superman.
Literally, the second the credits rolled, Alex turned to me and he's like, so she's just like the Superman of Marvel?
Yep.
That's right as they announced that they were going to make a movie. I was like, oh, here comes the Superman of Marvel Comics.
I felt that too, and I'm like, it's uninteresting. I don't want to see another movie where Steppenwolf beats up all of our heroes and then Superman saves the day. Why not make it a Superman movie? Why does it have to be Justice League? It doesn't have to be Justice League. That's the spoilers. The Justice League don't actually save the day. Superman does. I'm like, I don't need big purple Steppenwolf to beat all the Avengers and then woman Superman comes in and saves the day. I want to see them all work together to beat him.
You really threw me for a loop. I was like, Steppenwolf was not purple.
He was talking about Thanos.
I got it now, but then I was like, in my head, I was like, did they really try and make him purple and it just looked that bad? I was like, holy shit, DC.
It was an analogy.
Yes, I get it now. Once you said woman Superman, I was like, oh, he's talking about Thanos and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I'm not...
Now, is it Captain Marvel or is it Captain Marvel?
Marvel is the one who she gets her powers from. She is Captain Marvel.
They never refer to her as Captain Marvel.
No, they don't call her that, but Nick Fury straight up says Marvel sounds better, and she goes, oh, I guess.
I know, I was trying to make a joke, but...
No, I get it. Yeah, she blows up spaceships. Dumb Ronan. Oh, she goes up, right? She flies up. This is when she takes her helmet off in space, and I'm like, that shouldn't work.
Oh, she had her helmet on, didn't she?
Yep.
Right before this?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, when does she take it off?
She takes it off when she goes and does the Gypsy Danger, like, power pose in front of the ship. Like, when she does, like, the whatever you call that, the, like, bow thing. Like...
Yeah, and her energy, like, surges from her.
And, yeah, you see, like, a big energy bolt come out.
I can tell you the karate term for it, but
what is it?
No, it's okay.
What is it? Say it.
That's okay.
You brought it up already. Now you have to say it.
The podcast, wait.
It's called Chumbi.
Chumbi?
Well, technically it's this, but there's other... It's like A, B, C.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. There's like different versions of it.
She does the Gypsy Danger power.
Yeah, you say that's nerdy. He calls it the Gypsy Danger power pose from fucking Pacific Rim, and you're like, I'm the one that's going to sound like a geek.
I just thought it'd be fun. A technical term for it.
Yeah, and that's when Ronan's like, oh, guess we're heading back. And they all head back.
We'll be back later for our weapons. But the Tesseract, not her. I was like, that dialogue was so dumb.
Yeah,
I liked the way they moved too, because their heads had to stay like straight, so they had to move their whole shoulders and look back at each other.
You made me. I forgot about the worst part of this movie. The spaceship blows up and she's hurled down to Earth, and we get the worst CG where it zooms in on her
when she's falling.
When she's falling.
Yeah. I noticed her face before they zoomed up on it. Her face looked so
like rubbery.
Yeah, rubbery is probably a good
fake
word for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad. Like, even Adam was like, well, there was this weird part in the movie where the CG looked really bad, and I went, is it when she's falling? He's like, that is the exact scene.
I think they were trying to like cut corners or like get it out on time, so they're like, all right, where can we cut down on the CGI or whatever.
Holy
like,
cow.
oh, it's when she's falling because she's like
Make it this
small on the
huge
screen,
hero
but-
moment for her when you zoom in on her and she looks plastic.
Right.
And then she puts her dumb helmet. I hated the helmet and the mohawk. Anyway, she takes it off somehow and she can just like hang out in space without it.
Whoa, don't gloss over. Just because you hated it doesn't mean everybody hated it.
We all hated it, right?
I didn't mind it as much when I saw it in the movie. She didn't wear it as much.
Yeah.
And it didn't look quite as bad as I saw it, as what it looked like in the posters. But
I honestly didn't think it was that bad. I think she looks cooler with the mohawk than Cap does when he has his mask on ever.
No, that is
Every
not
time
true.
Captain America has his
Don't
mask
ask
on.
Dalton that.
That's not fair, yeah.
That is not true.
Every time Cap has his little mask on,
Only
he
in
looks
Avengers
stupid
1.
to me. No,
Only
every
when
time.
he-
Every
I
single
feel like
last
Eric,
time.
when he
like-
doesn't have the chin strap, he looks like a goober.
No, every single time he looks dumb. I
You
thought,
know what I'm
I
talking
feel
about.
like Captain Marvel looked like a goober, nonetheless, with the mohawk and
Alright,
stuff.
I didn't.
Like, I don't think it's like terrible, but I don't think it was very good either. I just feel like a lot of it was CG, and it wasn't very good CG.
It was cracking me up because it's like that meme where she like goes into the barber and she's like, "Hey, I'll have what he's having," and it's the mohawk, but then it's Hulk from Ragnarok with his big mohawk on his helmet.
I didn't think it looked that bad.
I thought it was stupid, and I didn't like
And
it.
I also really liked the animation every time her mask came off, how her hair would fall to her sides.
I did.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool.
I didn't have a problem with that. I thought every single one of those Kree would put their helmets on, I was like, you look like an idiot. Take it off. Or make it a full mask. One or the other. But they have these dumb, like, Robin from Batman masks. And I'm like, when has that ever been a good look?
I don't know. It kind of reminded
Robin
me of
from
some of
Batman.
the masks of the people in Aquaman. Where they have like
Yeah, and I hated those too.
yeah. I wasn't a big fan of those.
Mm-hmm. If we flash back to the Aquaman review, D-Man pointed out that he did not like those.
Well, yeah, I didn't have as big of a problem as I thought I would.
Well,
Well, in the pictures, it looked stupid as fuck.
But that looked dumb in the movie. She takes it off, she lives in space, whatever.
Ronan looks like a pussy in this movie. There, I said it, and I meant it.
There is, what is it? He puts something on his face at the start of Guardians. that
It's
makes
his
him look
lack of
different.
texture and the lack of the black face paint that he uses in Guardians of the Galaxy that he just looked so, like, dumb.
I did notice that. I did notice something about him looks very silly.
Yes, he looked so dumb.
Did
And
not look intimidating.
He didn't even sound like Ronan. He had, like, a different voice. He was definitely a different actor, wasn't it?
I can't.
It absolutely had to have been because
It was the actor. Well, okay, so the actor in Captain Marvel is Lee Pace.
let's click and see if he's also in. Oh my god, it was the same guy. There's no way. He seemed so different.
They got every other actor back. It would have
Are you
surprised
sure?
me if they didn't.
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
he is.
It
Never
is,
mind, never
yeah.
mind. You're right.
He. Oh my god, I don't know why. He just seemed. I guess good on you, Captain Marvel, because he really does seem older and more badass in Guardians of the Galaxy, which maybe is what the point was. Was he was like a little pussy boy in this movie, but.
That's exactly how I would describe Ronan in Captain Marvel. A little pussy.
Well, he
boy.
doesn't do
Yeah.
anything cool in Guardians either. What does he do cool in Guardians? He swings around a big hammer stick and then he gets killed in the dance-off.
I don't know. I thought he was all right. He's not my favorite MCU villain, but I don't think he's that bad.
I don't know. I just liked every time they like turned to each other, they had to move like their entire bodies.
Right.
Like the
It was
old
like the old Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Captain Marvel, she flies down to Earth. Jude Law is like, "This is what I've been waiting for. You're finally doing it. You're finally doing it. Beat me in a fight. I believe in you. You can beat me." And she just laser blasts him into a rock, which I was like,
No, he was like, beat me in a fight without your powers. You have to use your emotions to control your powers.
Well,
Don't use your powers.
But honestly, I didn't have a problem with it. I would have been like, if I were her, I would have been like, "Oh, you just watch," and I would have. I probably would have accepted this fight.
I would have done exactly what she did. I was
Yeah,
actually really happy when she did what she did.
Really? I thought it was a bit
there
too Han
wasn't another
Solo.
big giant fight scene.
Yeah, I thought it was
like.
I thought it was.
she's proved herself
I was
with that.
disappointed because I didn't think that there was a single good fight in this movie, and I was hoping that there would be a real good one with the two of them.
You know,
beat each other up.
I could see that if they had done a very well choreographed, like hand-to-hand fight scene, that would have been pretty cool. But
And I
I was
and
more
like,
satisfied with her just blasting.
we
her
all
right
know
there.
she's gonna win, so Like, and she knows she's gonna win no matter what. He knows she's gonna win.
So
I
what's
thought,
the point?
Well, I don't know. To give the audience something fun to watch.
I thought it was more fun to watch her blast it.
Yeah.
Because
I thought it was
how many
too Han
times?
Solo.
How many times in these movies are they like, beat me without your utility belt? What are you without your little suit of
They
armor?
introduce some kind of weakness to them where they can't use their powers.
Straight up, like Iron Man to Spider-Man. What are you? You have to be you without your suit, and so he has
If
to
you're
prove
nothing
himself
without
without
the
a suit.
then you shouldn't have it.
We've seen it. We get it. They can do it. They're heroes. That's kind of the point. So I was fine with her just being like, fuck it.
Again, I just felt like it was a bit too Han Solo for me. Han Solo / Indy did the same thing.
One of you two turned to me when that happened. Oh, yeah.
Wait, was it? Yeah,
Maybe it wasn't that one, but it happened earlier too, where someone like whipped out a knife or something and she like blasts him. I swear to God, once one of you two turned to me and was like,
me.
Indy.
I was about to say,
Was it at that scene? That
I
end
don't
scene?
think it was the end scene. I think it was a different one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Felt very Greedo. She just shoots him. Anyways, she does. She shoots him into a rock, and then she's like, I don't have to prove myself to you. Drags him away, and she's like, I'm going to send you back to your homeworld as a message that I'm coming for them. I was like, okay. I feel like Ronan could have delivered the same message, but keep this guy around because I kind of want to see him in a sequel, I suppose.
I don't.
Hopefully they do something interesting with him next time.
I thought he was absolutely useless.
Well, I think
have
Jude
desire
Law
to ever see that
next time.
character.
I don't have a problem with Jude Law, which is where I was like, I could see them doing something interesting with this character, so keep him around, but I did not care for him at all in this movie. I was very glad when we catch up with Ben Mendelsohn and he's like, dang, I got shot.
Oh, you know what we forgot to talk about?
No, I was just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was earlier when I was saying that there's a minute of downtime when they're on the Quinjet. And probably the stupidest decision made in MCU history. I would say even worse than the "what are those" line
Yes.
is when Nick Fury's playing with his good buddy the kitty, which he had said a little bit earlier in the movie. Don't kill me or hurt me. I'm trusting you. And then the kitty cat scratches his eye out. And I hated it.
Absolute cancer. I knew it was going to be something dumb because I watched a review that was like, oh, just you wait. There's a decision in here that you're going to have to accept as canon, and it's stupid. And I was like, oh, he's going to lose his eye some dumb way. And then that happened, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be this dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I told Derek that his eye was going to get scratched out by the cat right as the cat was
Yeah,
introduced.
Dalton literally called it from the cat walking on screen.
Right as
Well, he was a
I
fucking
saw-
Captain Marvel writer, apparently.
I don't know. I was like, right as he was just like, oh, it's a kitty, go, whatever. I was just like, cat's gonna fuck him up. He's done. His eye's gone after this. Watch.
I was so bad that I knew that was going to happen too, and I was so badly hoping that at any point in this movie I was going, lose that eye, please. Lose it now so that you don't later. And then he freaking loses it to that cat. So stupid. That takes away all weight from his line in Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. Do you know who it was that I trusted? A cat. A little kitty cat that I thought was cute.
Yep. Fucking dumb.
He should have finished that story and Cap would have been like, yeah, and this is why we tell people things. Oh, God. Yeah, they all catch up. They're like, hey, the Skrulls are going to go... Oh, by the way, there's many Skrulls now. They're like, hey, we're going to go find them a planet. Captain Marvel flies them off into space. Nick Fury is like, oh, man, that was crazy. What a world. Probably others out there, though. So we've got to be prepared. Coulson's like, yeah, we should be. Hey, pick a fake eye. And then Nick Fury looks at a picture of Captain Marvel and sees that her old plane was called the Avenger. And then he's like, I got an idea.
I want to rewind a second. Remember when you were like, oh, we have to prepare for other possible things being out there. And then they just didn't because, no one in any point of S.H.I.E.L.D. was ready for anything that came in, like, Thor.
Yeah, I
After
was
Thor
gonna
shows
say-
up, they're like, we had to make special weapons to deal with Thor and his people. But after the Skrulls and Kree show up in Captain Marvel, they're just like, fuck it, we'll figure something out later, I guess.
Yeah, it does create a continuity error here where in Thor, they make it a point that the first time they were contacted by aliens was Thor.
Right.
but very clearly not, because both the people from Thor who made that point, Coulson and Fury, were the two people who were here for this.
And Black Widow makes a point out of it in the Avengers when she says something like, we weren't ready for any kind of extraterrestrial, like, visitings, which would be Thor, and it was like, well, great, this is a thing now.
Yeah, that creates a little bit of a continuity error. So he's like, oh, we're gonna start the like protection initiative, and then he changes it to the Avengers initiative. What a cheap shot to end the movie on, playing the Avengers theme song. You can't do that and then make me not like the ending of that movie. I only liked it because it's the Avengers theme song. If any other song had played right there, I'd have been like, oh, so that's where he got the name. But because it's the Avengers theme song, I'm like, Endgame, get here sooner!
It'll be here soon enough.
Post credits. They're playing with the doodad that Nick Fury... Oh.
It's a pager?
It's a pager that Captain Marvel, she takes it away. She's like, you've lost your privileges with this. You're not trustworthy with it, Nick Fury. She gives it back to him at the end of the movie, and she's like, hey, I've given it an upgrade. Please only use it if you absolutely need me. So he's like, yeah, sure. They're playing with the pager, and they're like, oh, man, what is this thing sending a signal to? And then they turn around, and she's there, and it's...
There's Fury.
Yeah, it's Bearded Cap, which I like seeing that back. Bearded Cap, we have Black Widow, and then Bruce. And then maybe War Machine was there?
Yeah, Rhodey was there, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's there. So, there you go. Second post-credit scene, Kitty Cat throws up the Tesseract, and it takes 45 seconds too long.
And here's another thing. Captain America, the first Avenger, they discover the Tesseract when Howard Stark finds it, and also I'm pretty sure holds it. Pretty sure that he pulls it out of the ice and holds it. Anyways.
I don't believe that.
No, okay, so...
Yes, don't.
Because when we talked about it last night, I was thinking about it. So in the first Avenger, Red Skull originally has it because he goes to that church in Germany and gets it from that really old guy at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the one where it's like,
right,
this is the fake Tesseract, and he gets it. So they don't have the Tesseract until midway through the movie.
The first Avenger?
Yeah.
They don't
get the Tesseract at all. They get like little chips that Cap brought back from like magazines of like ammunition from the Tesseract that Hydra was making.
But they had the Tesseract. Hydra had the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm. Because Red Skull got it.
Right. And then they crash. And then Howard Stark goes looking for Frozen Cap.
Because here's what it is Red Skull grabs the Tesseract, it shoots him into space. The Tesseract falls on the plane and burns a hole through the floor and falls out into the ocean.
Right.
And then Howard Stark is looking for Captain America.
Yeah, and then
And he pulls out the Tesseract. And they go, we have no reason to believe this plane is anywhere around here. But Howard Stark has the Tesseract. Howard Stark, at the end of Captain America the First Avenger, winds up with the Tesseract.
Yes.
Then, somehow, Marvel has the Tesseract. Then, somehow, Nick Fury has the Tesseract. Then, somehow, Asgard has the Tesseract.
What do you mean somehow Nick Fury has the Tesseract?
Well, okay, yes, I guess we know how Nick Fury has it because the cat throws it up. How the fuck does Asgard wind up with it? How the fuck did Marvel wind up with it?
What do you mean, how does Asgard wind up with it? They get it back at the end of Avengers.
Oh my god.
It was on Earth.
It wasn't. No, it was in the movie Thor. It was in the movie Thor in their little trophy room. They had the Tesseract.
I remember them experimenting on it in the post-credit scene of Thor.
See, I thought... is that big, like, box? Are you talking about, like, the box thing?
Yeah, the one that shoots ice? That's not the Tesseract.
I thought that wasn't the Tesseract.
That isn't the Tesseract.
That was the thing
that comes from the ice world.
God, they had it in
No, that comes from the ice planet.
Yeah, I thought that was like an ice, whatever, artifact, but I don't know.
Well, now I have to make a few points. Starting with Captain America, I'm about to show you 100% concrete evidence Howard Stark winds up with the Tesseract.
He does. You're absolutely right. He gets it on, they're on the boat, and they're like, hey, sir, we just found this thing, and he's just like, but we don't know where Cap is, and he's like, just keep looking. But Howard Stark does end up with the Tesseract at the end of Captain America the First Avenger.
Maybe he has gloves on?
No, he doesn't touch it. He has like a little robot arm grab it from underneath the boat.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there's that. So now how does Marvel wind up with it? It doesn't make any sense.
She steals it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
You see, that's the only we
Makes
just
sense.
don't know how she ends up getting it, unless she can just I don't know.
I'm going on the Wiki fandom to read the history of the Tesseract.
My goodness.
All right, one thing we did not mention that I really liked about the very, very beginning of this movie, they did a Stan Lee tribute.
Oh, that was
And
awesome.
all of the so how every Marvel movie begins, it's a sequence of all the other movies, but this one was just all of Stan Lee's cameos and stuff. And
I made a joke.
Behind the scenes picture.
Yeah, I made a joke about it during the first time you saw Stan Lee, the first Stan that shows up. I went, my man, and then all of them were Stan Lee, and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
And then Stan Lee also had a cameo.
That
in
was
this
the
where he was,
weirdest cameo.
memorizing a script.
Yeah.
Is that what he was doing?
Yeah, because I was like, why else would he be repeating one line,
And he was clearly
and
reading
he was
a
holding,
script.
and you could see
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, Tesseract is retrieved by the leader of Hydra in 1942. It was in a church before then. We don't know how it got there.
dab. I said that.
Falls into the hands of Captain America in 1945. Goes into the water at the end of that. Is recovered by Howard Stark the same year.
Dab.
And you were
Put
right, it was
into-
by a mechanical arm. I just watched
Put
the
into
scene.
S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, where it remained until stolen by Loki, who used the Tesseract to open a wormhole and allow the... Yes, you're thinking of the big ice box that they use to freeze things that came
Yes,
from the
that is
Frost
not the
Giant.
Tesseract.
That is not the
something
Tesseract.
different.
The
It looks a
Tesseract...
lot like this. It's got the same color scheme as the Tesseract, though.
The first appearance of the Tesseract is the post-credit scene to Thor, when they go, hey, we got this, by the way, and they open up a suitcase, and the Tesseract is in it, and then, what's-his-name, Doctor from Thor says, whatever, oh, that's interesting, but then it turned out that he only said that because Loki said that.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first reveal of the Tesseract. We then see Loki use it at the start of Avengers to pour into Earth, meaning that at some point between Howard Stark recovering it and then,
Avengers.
in the 90s, Marvel gets her hands on it, which makes sense, right? She worked for the Air Force, and as we find out, the Air Force has association with S.H.I.E.L.D. as they are building the Quinjets. So she has association with them. She steals the Tesseract, puts it up in her spaceship. It winds up orbiting Earth for a little while, gets caught by the cat. The cat eats it, and then throws it up on Nick Fury's desk. Now it's back in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Loki.
Convenient and dumb.
Well, it is what it is.
It felt like a way to shoehorn in the Tesseract and be like, look guys, it's the Tesseract.
So, but if we're going off of that, the generator's energy is from the Tesseract, right? The one that Captain Marvel shoots, and that's how she gets her powers?
Yeah.
So if they're in association with S.H.I.E.L.D., she could have just been like, hey, I need this for some testing or whatever. That's how she made her generator. But then she put it in her ship for some reason.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that, how the Tesseract in the ship somehow powered that weird power core that gave Captain Marvel her powers. That didn't make
there was a
sense
lot
to
of
me.
convenience and things that weren't explained in this
I also
movie that I didn't like.
I also didn't understand how shooting that power core only gave Carol Danvers Captain Marvel powers. Shouldn't it have also given Marvel the powers, Jude Law the powers, and those trees the powers?
Marvel was dead already. She got shot before.
Well, yeah, she got shot, but was she dead, or was she just bleeding out?
Oh, she was dead.
Okay.
The
well,
story says she did.
either way,
The stories say a lot of things.
either way, it should have given Jude Law the powers because he got hit by the same explosion she did.
Yeah.
And then there was that slow-mo shot of the trees getting exploded by it too, which means trees are the strongest Avenger. Groot.
And that's how
Just
Groot was
saying.
born.
Actually, the cat did remind me a lot of Baby Groot from Guardians 2, who, if we'll flash back to when Guardians 2 came out, I know we weren't doing a podcast back then, but I also didn't find Baby Groot funny at all. I thought he was quite annoying.
I think
and
Baby
only
Groot
used
had
for gags.
many moments that were far better than anything the stupid fucking cat did.
Yes.
Good lines.
Baby Groot had one cool moment, and that's like when he like grabs all those guys and throws them off the edge when Yondu's
Well, I
arrows
didn't
flying
say Baby
around.
Groot was cool or a badass. I don't think the cat was cool or a badass. If they were both used as
But I
comedy
thought they were
devices,
both. Yeah,
I thought Baby
both
Groot
of
had
them
more
served the
comedic
same
things. things.
I thought both of them served the same function, and I both disliked them equally.
Here's all I have to do is I have to justify one funny moment of Baby Groot, and I would say it's the part where Baby Groot's trying to go find Yondu's, like, something or other. What was it?
Oh, and
his eye?
But
bring
they
eye or something?
overdid that joke, and they
Yeah.
did that like 7 times where he comes back with the wrong thing over and over and over again to the point where Groot actually isn't the one that brings it to him, someone else is.
He only did it twice.
No, there's
yeah.
like 3 things that Groot... No, there's a whole montage. You see Groot go and retrieve a couple things, but then they have a whole montage of Groot bringing the wrong items, and I was like,
And then Sean Gunn brings it back.
Yep.
I'm just saying Baby Groot much better than the cat. No one can
Yes,
tell me
I agree
otherwise.
with that
Thank you.
100%.
See, you're wrong. Boom.
Even teenage Groot, I'm not a fan of. Playing his video games, I was like, yeah.
Nope. I really disliked Teenage Groot.
It was funny during the scene on the ship where he says a naughty word that we don't know, but other than that, I thought it was kind of annoying.
Agreed. Anything else about Captain Marvel?
Nick Fury's great. I really liked our good boy Ben Mendelsohn. Go watch Ready Player One.
God.
I liked the music that they played. I didn't particularly love the score.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was kind of
the 4 category
background.
thing. Okay, human story in the movie. What'd you think? Thought it dragged a bit, but I was
Human
okay
story
with
being defined human story
that.
for
The story
me.
for the movie. What'd you think of the
Just
plot?
the characters, I guess.
There's multiple plots. Are you talking specifically Captain Marvel's story? Uninteresting to me. I didn't care about how she got her powers. I wasn't interested in any of the mystery behind her. As for the story between
in general, holy cow.
between the story between the Skrull and the Kree, I liked that. I thought it was kind of interesting.
In general, I thought the plot of this movie was alright. I thought the action was horrible, which isn't good because this is an action movie, and I found it to be pretty hard to follow, and then when it wasn't hard to follow, it was just boring.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's
I
where the
didn't
movie...
find it hard to follow ever.
Really? You
Hard
thought...
to follow?
Well, I like.
It's like hard
Could
to
you
see
tell
what
what was happening when Captain
it-
Marvel's like fist fighting? Because to me, it was
I
a
thought
lot
you
of
were
like
talking about the
close
plot.
angles.
No,
No, I was like, yeah, no, as far as, yeah, as the fight, there was, the fight scene at the beginning was fine.
That's the one that I particularly disliked. Was the one on the ship when her hands are bound? Because every time.
No, before that, when she's fighting,
Jude Law.
yeah.
Oh well,
That one was
that was
fine,
like 2
which
seconds.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah, which was weird because the other ones didn't look the same.
Right. It should have been like that the whole time. Because there was like some
There's a
kind
lot
of
of
cool
good
choreography
choreography,
right
yeah.
there, but they didn't do anything with it. They just put you in a bunch of tight angles that you couldn't tell what the fuck was happening. Like a bunch of bodies moving, and that was your action sequences, your hand to hand, and then dogfights and planes and shit. Never interesting. I always think that's boring.
I agree.
It's just like one plane chasing another plane, or I guess in this case, spaceships, shooting at each other, outmaneuvering each other. Like, who cares?
The soundtrack I thought was pretty generic.
Soundtrack or score?
Score.
Yeah.
Yeah, score was pretty generic.
Yep.
I only liked the reminiscent parts that were like the Winter Soldier.
Thought the score was generic and the special effects. I thought the special effects were pretty good for the most part of this movie, but then there was like that weird shot of her falling from the sky, and there was a couple other shots like it that I was like, that looks weird and bad.
Still didn't think it was as bad as that Black Panther scene when they're falling, though.
No, nothing is. Justice League has better stuff than that.
And it won Best Picture. Okay, let's move on. What else was we said score, is that it? For your 4 category shenanigans?
Yeah, that's all I do.
Well then, did you piddle?
Yes.
You piddled? I give it a few drops.
Mine was a half pedal.
Mine was a neutral.
Dry.
I was dry, but not in the sense that I was like, man, that movie sucked. Like, nothing bad happened. I just didn't piddle.
I don't know, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. So.
It was exactly what I expected it would be.
You know what it felt like to me? Was like Guardians of the Galaxy's little cousin.
It felt like a Star Wars movie to me in that I didn't care about anything that was happening with any of the main characters, but there were a couple of side characters that I found interesting, and then the movie ended, but it took a while to get to the end. That's how I'll describe the movie. It was like Star Wars. If you like Star Wars...
Star Wars except with worse villains.
I was going to say, if you like Star Wars, I can't really say that you're going to probably find the same comparison that I did, but I found it to be like Star Wars. I wasn't too happy about that.
What about compared to Wonder Woman? Which did you like more? Because that's what this movie's already being compared to.
Wonder Woman.
I liked Wonder Woman more too.
What about you, Alex?
I kind of like this one more.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't... Not that I found Wonder Woman bad, I just... I don't know what about it wasn't as interesting to me.
It was the visuals were too dark and boring to look at.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, the palette in Wonder Woman is very dull.
You definitely
everything
like
down to her outfit is very dull in Wonder Woman, but
seems very intentional.
kind of overall.
It was intentional. Well, because it's like, it's World War One, but it's like, make me enjoy watching it though.
Overall, I'd say Wonder Woman's stories and characters are more appealing than Captain Marvel's was.
Yeah. As far as MCU movies go, this is the bottom of my list. It beats out Black Panther and Dark World. And I'm looking at the MCU list right now, but nope, those are the only two that it beats out. The first thing that ran through my head when this movie ended, the words that ran through my head were, it wasn't Thor Ragnarok.
Certainly was not.
There was no Ragnarok. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's a space movie. It's one of the few space movies that I enjoy, but I was like, it wasn't Ragnarok.
The I'm Just a Girl fight scene was the one that cemented it as like Guardians of the Galaxy's little cousin to me. I was like, it seems like they were kind of trying to get the Guardians feel, and it didn't really totally work. But
what about you? Where do you put it?
Probably it's not top 10.
Okay.
I don't know how many
Fair
movies there are, but I would say it beat out my bottom 3 are probably Dark World. What was the other one you just said?
Black Panther.
Black Panther and probably Guardians 2. I think
that's
What?
exactly
Guardians
my bottom.
2?
That's my bottom list too. And this one I do like Guardians 2 more than I like.
you guys would watch Iron Man 2 and 3 before you'd watch Guardians 2?
Oh yeah, big time. I really like the Iron Man trilogy.
This just shook me.
I'm sorry, I'm with you.
The full Iron Man trilogy I think is solid all the way through.
What the hell?
And I just
That's
watched.
the first I've ever heard.
I think actually it's not my bottom 3. Guardians would be like the bottom 4. I think it's better.
So exactly
it's way
right,
better.
but
Way
way
better
to
than
go.
Thor.
It's exactly where I put it.
And I didn't dislike Guardians 2. I'm not saying that. It's just not as
actually,
high
you
up as
know what?
everything else.
I would put Thor: The First Thor underneath Guardians 2.
Oh, we've gone too far. What's happening?
So the way I just rearranged it is Guardians 2 is my number 5 least favorite.
I'm not even following any of this. I don't understand you.
You want me to run it down? The list goes like this from worst to best.
It's just gonna make it worse.
It goes Black Panther, worst to best. Black Panther, Dark World, Captain Marvel, Thor: The First. No. Black Panther.
Oh my god.
That's what.
We'll let you hash this out
Black
for a little
Panther,
while. We'll get back to you when we
Dark
do our
World.
MCU part, phase 3 review. How's that?
No, because I just solved it. It's Black Panther, Dark World,
Okay, then write it down.
Thor: The First Thor, Captain Marvel, Guardians 2. That's my bottom 5.
Captain Marvel beat Thor?
Yeah, I rethought about it and then I went, yeah, probably.
Then
No,
the first
undo,
Thor?
undo, go backwards.
Please
You're
stop.
wrong.
I think I'd rather watch Captain Marvel again than I'd rather watch Thor. I could
Yes.
see myself watching Captain Marvel again recently.
Captain Marvel is on the same level as Thor: The Dark World for me, so it's
Oh,
my
damn.
second least favorite. It's like
See, I hate
Black
it,
Panther's the bottom, slightly above it is Thor: The Dark World and Captain Marvel, both equal, and then kind of a step above that is probably like Iron Man 2 and a few of the others.
I could see myself being easily convinced to see Captain Marvel again. I would never be like, hey, do you want to go see Captain Marvel? Because I don't really want to see it again. But if some of my friends were like, hey, do you want to go see Captain Marvel with us? I'd be like, yeah, I guess. If those same friends were like, do you want to go watch Thor? I'd be like, nope, you guys can have fun.
It's because you don't remember Thor.
That's probably
I just watched Thor again.
I know you did, but he didn't.
No, because that movie's not that good, so I didn't want to rewatch it.
All right, well,
Go ahead and wrap it there.
Yeah,
What did the audience think of Captain Marvel?
Yeah, did you guys also get 2 Shazam trailers before your movie?
Genuinely curious.
Yeah,
Really
me
wanna
too.
know.
How did they censor the dickhead line in your Spider-Man trailer? What weird thing did they make our good boy Flash Thomas Thompson?
Thompson.
Oh my God.
Flash Thomas.
Shut up. I'm not a Raimi fanboy.
He was not. He was hardly a character in the first movie. He was
Not
one
Captain
guy.
Marvel.
This needs to stop.
He was one guy that Peter dodges the punches from. That was all he did.
Yeah,
in
but
that
that
movie.
seems iconic.
Really?
Okay, let's just not talk about this. This is not what this podcast is about.
Are you trying to tell me that that's not an iconic scene, Alex?
Oh.
Is that an iconic
We're
scene,
closing
audience?
in on 2 hours.
Oh, this is a long one.
Yeah. Did you guys like this movie? I think it's important to see. It's not important to see for the timeline.
It
I
has
just think you
almost
should because
no
it's Marvel.
bearing on the rest of the MCU at all.
You can go into Endgame and not watch this.
It'll be
Just
it'll be interesting to see if you can. I mean, Endgame might be like, she might be like, I'm Carol Danvers, and I've been fighting the Kree War, helping the Skrulls, or it might just drop you into it and not explain it because it expects you to see this movie.
Either way, I don't think it's important. Captain Marvel will show up, she'll have powers, and that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, Biff, what the hell is that?
Biff.
It's the button that makes you subscribe.
Thank
I
you.
did it out of order.
And what's the other thing, Dalton?
On this side, you can watch the previous episodes. And on the other side, you can get a link to the entire channel with all the other
The
episodes.
playlist.
The playlist.
It's the playlist.
It's fucking close enough.
Thanks for sticking with us, as I'm sure everybody did. They watched this beginning to end and loved it. Have a good week, everybody.
Happy International Women's Day.